Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Today, we're going to be continuing our series where we go over countries within the same continent to help you expand your knowledge of Geoguessr. Today, we're going to be covering Southeast Asia. So, the last video that we did mainland Asia. So, all of these countries in around here. But I did separate Southeast Asia from the bunch because there were so many countries in Asia that have coverage. So, today, we're going to be looking at 8 countries that have coverage in Southeast Asia and basically just give you tips and tricks on how to tell which country you're in because they're all extremely similar. So hopefully this video is helpful. Definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get on with it. So the first one here is Indonesia, and the easiest ways to tell that this is Indonesia are driving on the left. That's a big thing because not all the countries in Southeast Asia drive on the left. So Indonesia drives on the left. The license plates are kind of like black with a white stripe in the middle, or white with like 2 black stripes here, depending on how you look at it. But they're mainly black with white stripes. That's the main thing to look at because Malaysia's the opposite. It has white with black stripes. This one's black with white stripes. So if the whole thing is more darker, more black, then you know it's Indonesia. This is the text, the script for Indonesia. I don't really know exactly what it's called, so I'm not going to even try and guess. But this text can kind of be seen in Indonesia and Malaysia very often. So if you see this, just think right away either Indonesia or Malaysia, because there's definitely a differentiation between this and like Thai, for example. So yeah, driving on the left, the black plates with the white stripes, and this text I'll point you towards Indonesia. Now the road lines, there normally isn't too many road lines, but normally they'll be white if there are any, like seen here. And often there's not any in this certain image, but often in Indonesia, what you'll see are houses with like tin roofs, so like metal sheet roofs, and like big satellite dishes. That's something you can often see in Indonesia. Okay, this next one is Malaysia, and a couple ways to tell the difference between Malaysia and Indonesia. Malaysia also drives on the left, so it can kind of be tricky to distinguish them sometimes. But the main tip here is that Malaysia kind of looks more developed, and there's more houses around, and it's like better road conditions. Yeah, that's the main difference. But also in Malaysia, same text as Indonesia, this type of text here. But sometimes you'll also see like this type of text, or even English sometimes. Uh, and sometimes you'll even see like Mandarin or even Japanese, just because it's kind of like a combination of languages in the same country. So they'll have it in the Malaysian text, and then they'll also have it in either English or Japanese or other different texts. So if you see like one billboard with like 4 different languages on it, chances are you're in either Indonesia or Malaysia. Malaysia looks a little more tropical. These trees are like everywhere. So that's another way to tell that it's Malaysia. And yeah, a lot of the roadsides have these types of poles to them. Sometimes they're black and white. In this case, this one is black and yellow. So if you see those, then you'll know you're in Malaysia over Indonesia. Another thing is these painted curbs. They're all over Southeast Asia, as far as I know. So just take a look out for those. Okay, this next one is Singapore, and Singapore is probably the easiest out of all of them. There are like 5 main clues to tell that it's Singapore, and they always all work. The first one is that on the roads, you will often see this double bold line that runs next to each other. So you'll often see this in Britain, actually, but it's seen everywhere in Singapore because Singapore is so small that, like, basically it's only the city that has coverage. Another thing is we have the painted curbs again. Driving on the left, again, I know I keep saying driving on the left, but there are some that drive on the right, so that's why. Singapore drives on the left. The plates don't really matter because there's like yellow ones, there's white ones. Uh, There's a variation, so don't rely on the plates too much. Singapore also has the same text as like Indonesia or Malaysia, but it could also have like, Mandarin or Japanese, like I was saying, just in amongst. Another main thing to tell that it's Singapore that pretty much always works are the tall buildings. There are tall buildings everywhere scattered around Singapore, the city of Singapore, because it's so small. Like let me show you. So Singapore is down in here. So because there's such a small land coverage in Singapore, it only really has coverage in this area. So there's tall buildings like in this area everywhere. So depending on whether you're over here, up here, down here, you'll always see the same tall buildings or the same group of tall buildings. So just look around for a minute, and if you see like skyscrapers like everywhere, then it's Singapore. The last tip I want to give, really important, are these trees. Now, these trees are different from normal trees that you would see in other countries because they kind of like they start off like a normal tree, but then they kind of like curl out and scatter off into these really cool looking trees that do have leaves on top here. So if you see these types of like curly trees, I like to call them, then you know you're in Singapore. These are not really found anywhere else in the world that has coverage anyway. Okay, this next one is Thailand, and the easiest way to tell it's Thailand is the language. So this is what it looks like. It's very it kind of looks like a bunch of like elongated characters, like stick characters. Uh and yeah, it kind of looks like this. It's going to take a while to get used to looking at it and saying, "Oh, that's Thai." But once you have it, you pretty much will have it nailed forever because it's very unique script. Another thing is we're driving on the left yet again. And the plates don't really matter. I think they're just white, although that one kind of looks green. So don't rely too heavily on the plates. The language is the huge thing. It's very different from every other country except Cambodia, which we'll get to next. But Cambodia has a big difference over Thailand. Now, keep in mind, Thailand could also have like sheeted metal roofs, kind of like Indonesia. They all have the same traits like that in terms of like house structure. So just keep your eyes out for that. My last tip for Thailand are these lamp posts. So let's see if I can get closer to it. Uh, Thailand will often have these types of lamp posts here. So it's like straight out, and there's these big flat lamp posts. I'm trying to get close to one. Is there one over there? Yeah, there is. They're like big flat plates almost. So if you see these big flat lamp posts, you also know that you're in urban Thailand. And if you're in rural Thailand, it'll be normally like a dirt road, not really paved, and driving left. And if you happen to see that script, then you know you're in Thailand, 100%. All right, this next one is Cambodia, and this one is very similar to Thailand in terms of the script. It's not Thai, it's I forget exactly what the script is called. My apologies. And yeah, it says Cambodian right here, but this is the part that you have to focus on because you won't always see the English. You'll normally see this. So it's very similar to the Thai script. So when you see this script, just always think right away either Thailand or Cambodia. Now, the main difference between Thailand and Cambodia is that Thailand drives on the left, Cambodia drives on the right. So try and find a car or a road sign that is on the right hand side, and then you'll know that it's Cambodia. The road lines for Cambodia, it's this kind of looks like a singular yellow strip. I also forgot to mention Thailand. It doesn't have it here, but for Thailand, there's normally a single yellow strip with two white lines on the outside. Same deal for Cambodia, but Cambodia can sometimes have white lines in the middle, so just keep that in mind. That's another differentiation between the two. And here are these metal sheeted roofs that you can find pretty much anywhere in Southeast Asia, but they're more common in Indonesia with the satellite dishes. But yeah, you can find those pretty much anywhere in Southeast Asia. These oil palms are also everywhere in Southeast Asia, so just keep your eyes open for that. And just the overall landscape, like the soil, it's slightly more red, not not too red that it signifies Africa, but it's you can tell that this isn't like European by any means. Okay, this next one is Laos. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And Laos is very interesting because you don't often get it as a country. So it's up here. And you won't often get this country because there's only coverage down here in the capital city. This whole other part of the country, there's no coverage in. So this one is very, very, very rare. Um, but if you do get it, you need to know what to look for. So same script as I'm pretty sure it's the same script as Thai and Cambodia, but I'm not exactly sure because I like never get this country. One main thing I have noticed though, when I have gotten it, is that there are a lot of yellow plates and there are a lot of bikes. So keep your eyes open for that. Also, driving on the right. That's another thing. So you know if you're driving on the right that it could either be Cambodia or Laos. Now, I don't really have too many other tips for this. Like you have the painted curbs like in all the other Southeast Asian countries. The last tip I will say is that you will normally be placed in an urban setting. So this is not the most urban you can get. Sometimes you'll be placed right in the main city, but you will not be placed out in the bush if you get Laos. Whereas Cambodia, you could be placed pretty much anywhere out in the bush. So that's the differentiation between those. Okay, this next one is very interesting. It's Vietnam, and the main thing for Vietnam is that you're on a bike. So there's no car coverage. So for example, here's Laos again. So you can't really tell, but you are in a car. You will be able to tell if you're on a bike. Here it's actually shown, like the bike is actually shown, but if it's blurred out, normally you'll just see the mirrors. So you can pretty much tell that you're on a bike even if it's blurred out. But the main thing here is the language. So this is the script. This is Vietnamese. Now it's kind of hard to see up here, but this is the main thing you have to pay attention to. A lot of accents, a lot of accents. So dots, hats, and ticks. Different accents there. Over here, like this is English down here, but up here, this is Vietnamese. So yeah, just kind of look around for the language. Driving on the right, so that's differentiation. But the main things are the bike and the language. And Vietnam is kind of the same as Laos. You will always be placed in a city. There is no coverage out in the bush. So if you're in a city and you're on a bike, it is 100% Vietnam. And if you don't know if you're on a bike or not, just kind of look for language because it will be everywhere because you'll always be placed in a city. Okay, uh, this next one is Philippines, I believe. Yes, this next one's Philippines. Had to think about that for a minute. It's the last one. So Philippines is interesting because you will see English. You will see a lot of English in Philippines. So this is kind of difficult because it's hard differentiating between Philippines and like I don't know, maybe Brazil, certain English parts of Brazil if you don't see any Spanish, or Mexico. So here are a few tips. The first tip is that you're driving on the right, so differentiates between like Thailand and all of those other countries. The next thing is that normally you'll get white plates in Philippines, but there is a very slight chance that you will see these plates with a green hue, these green plates. Now it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but if you kind of look back, you will see a green hue on the plates. So if you see green plates and it kind of looks like this, you're in Philippines. Don't bank on that though, because most of them are white. Another thing for Philippines, other than the English, is that sometimes you will get um, the Malaysian Indonesian script. I can't really find it in this setting, but you will get it sometimes in addition to English. So definitely keep your eyes out for that because it will be. I'm just trying to find it here. So that's more English, but up here, maybe that's Indonesian text. So it just depends. Yeah, you kind of have to look around. But the other thing for Philippines, which I can't really see in this image, is that normal you are always going to be in a white car, and normally you can see the back of the white car. Although right now I can't. I don't know why. Just maybe we're replaced. So don't bank on that, I guess. But generally, if you could tell that you're in a white car, normally you could be able to see the back. In this case, I can't for some reason, but normally you'll be able to see the back. Then you know you're in Philippines. So to summarize, driving on the right, English text, and it looks like Southeast Asia. Um, and the white car all tell you that you're in Philippines. Also the green plate if you see Eddie. Okay, that brings me to the end of this video. I don't believe I missed any. I think we got all 8 of the countries that have coverage. Myanmar, Burma does not have coverage. Um, yeah, East Timor does not have coverage. So I think we're good on that. So thank you guys for watching. If you have anything you need to let me know, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.